This DJNTV show is sponsored by DJ Event Planner, Electra Voice, DJ Trivia and DJ Bingo, ProX Direct, NLFX Pro, Promo Only, Odyssey Cases, Perfect Portals, JMOZ Lighting, Instant DJ Requests, and our DJNTV Insiders. This is John Young from DJNTV. Thanks for watching. Hey, good evening and welcome to Monday night here on DJNTV. Tonight, MJ and I are going to take you through a plethora of topics. That was my word of the day.
Plethora.
Plethora.
That's what they make those fake seats out of, isn't it? Plethora.
Plethora. No, that's naga hide or something like that. But
faux leather.
Yeah, fake stuff. But
leather. We used to call it pleather.
Pleather. I think we're going down a road we don't want to go tonight. So for tonight, we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to hit some different questions that have been popping around here on the interweb of the DJ world here in the last few days, and then we're going to talk about DJX, which is going on right now in Atlantic City. We've been kind of watching the channels. We've got Dan Carpenter, who would typically be right there. He'd be right down there, and he would be the one doing all the talking. But Dan is on site, and he's going to be kind of covering this show for us, and he's been getting some pictures. If you've been following our Instagram page, we've been popping some pictures up there, so you guys could check those out. And I think tonight, actually, Howie and the crew is getting ready for tomorrow night at Beret. They went over to go and move some things around and to get some gear in position, so that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock at Beret, will be the DJNTV chill event that the whole crew, pretty much everybody but you and I. And that's okay. That's okay, because they're going to do a great job. Great job indeed. Let's see, Adrian, Mike, you guys are with us. Thank you for jumping in there. Philip, thank you for being on with us there. I see that. On the why is it not showing up there? But I'm seeing it there. Huh. Anyway. So MJ, where do we want to start tonight?
Saying hello to Steve Slick. That's where.
Steve popped in there. Yeah, I'm seeing on Facebook. I got a notification that somebody's liked our video. Philip liked our video, but doesn't show up over here. Interesting.
At the chat, I'm only seeing the YouTube in the chat.
YouTube's all showing up in the chat, but it popped as a notification.
Restart it or something. Restart it, not you.
Yeah, no, I think it's whatever.
I'll deal with it. If you are watching us on Facebook tonight and you want to say something, you might need to slip over to youtube.com/discjockey news. Join us there, and we can see your questions and stuff. Because we are going to take questions tonight. We're going to talk a little about the expo, what little bit we know so far. Show you a little bit what we know. I guess that's all we can say is what we know. Because we don't know a lot. We just know what we know,
No, I don't know.
Okay, that's good.
So first off, the first question really almost leads into the discussion about DJX. So let's just kind of deal with this question and kind of talk about it from our two perspectives a little bit, and then we'll kind of drift off into what we've been hearing from Atlantic City. But one of the questions I saw, I think, a half a dozen different times, and most of the time it's been kind of poo-pooed, and no one really talked about it too much. But there was one spot where there was a lot of conversation, and the question basically is, are DJ shows or DJ expos of value to go to anymore, or have those days passed? And I'm going to kind of jump back into the early 2000s when we were first going to the shows, late 90s, early 2000s. The show was a place where there was so much you could do there that you couldn't do anywhere else. I'm going to put a thumbtack in that, MJ, because when you went to the first convention, the first expos, why did you go? What was the real push for you to go that made you?
I got kidnapped, and no, honestly, I think my first one was because obviously that's the main thing I cover on Disc Jockey News is the technical side of things, and I wanted to go see gear. I remember sharing pictures online at my first expo, and a friend of mine commenting, "Hey, we're really excited to see all the new equipment, but could you please calm down? Your camera's shaking so much we can't see the gear." I was quite excited to be there. That's, like I said, that's probably what drew me, was just the fact that there was so much gear. And along with the expo pass, because I only got the showroom floor pass, you got to also go and see the promo only shows. And there was always some big names on that. And I think it was the combination of getting to be a little bit a part about that. I was there by myself. I hardly knew anybody. But I think that was probably what drew me at the beginning. Yeah.
And I think that idea of seeing the gear, and if we kind of go back in time before, yes, the internet was there and there were things on the internet, but there weren't as many people doing videos on gear. You didn't have a Rachel Lynch or Brian Redd or whoever that were getting the gear, like, the first 10 of them coming across, 6 of them are going to influencers nowadays in that world. At that time, it wasn't there. So if you wanted to go and touch the latest controller, the Denon, when the 6000 came out, the first generation of it, the only place we could see it initially was at a show. You couldn't see it anywhere else. And around our neck of the woods, there weren't the gear shops that would have had such a thing. So you went to that to see new gear, and this really was your first opportunity to not only touch it, but to learn about it.
As a DJ, you tend to see the equipment that the people around you use. And there's just so much more out there. And that was one of the things for me, is I just wanted to see what else was out there.
Mm-hmm. And I think at that time, if we think back to all the companies that were presenting or showing in the exhibit hall back then, there were times where there were 4 or 5 different companies that had like controllers specifically. You had a variety of different controllers out there. So you were able to say, hey, I can check this company out, or this company out, or this one, or hey, there's a little startup over here that I've never heard of before that all of a sudden came out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I remember the first time seeing some of the tiny, was it Hercules?
Yes.
It had the tiny ones?
Yep, they had.
And Casio had a small one too, and I was like, what the heck's this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. They were some of those early, and it was kind of neat because there was something there for everybody. I mean, if you were starting out a beginner DJ, there was something there from this company, like specifically Hercules. And if you were someone who was into the club world, well, there were things for you there also. And there's a part of me that, looking at the exhibit hall today, the map of that, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know if those days are completely over, but it sure feels like it.
I think, in my opinion, it's not going to be what it used to be, simply for the fact, like you said, that people can see the stuff online wherever they're at. With the internet, you're able to connect with more DJs, and if there's a DJ an hour away from you, you can take a drive and check out if he purchased that piece of equipment. There are shops now, at least more than, before it was just DJ shops, but with guitar centers everywhere, you get a little bit, like our guitar centers here don't have a lot of equipment in them, mm-hmm. But some of them do. But it's just a different world now, how you shop. I mean, nobody buys anything from brick and mortar anymore. Nowadays, I know people that purchase from Amazon their DJ equipment, test it, don't like it, send it back.
Yep.
So that's how they try it now. Like, why do I drive to Atlantic City when I can just have something shipped to me, and as long as within 14 days I return it, I'm good? Mm-hmm. It's sad that it's done that way, but a lot of people are doing that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And to prove that point, when we see these Amazon return liquidation centers, Minneapolis, they just talked about that on the news the other day, and there's like 4 new ones that are just packed with return items. Yeah. Most of it in fine shape. There's nothing wrong with it. But
it's where I get some stuff. I mean, I didn't tell anybody, but when there was a shortage on the Pioneer 1000 SRT, I, through one of those return centers, found 2 of them One for about $500 and the other one for about $700. And I tried it, didn't like it, and sold them both for a large profit. A friend of mine ended up getting the Rain one like I have. He paid a little over $500 for it. So there's things like that if you're willing to take a chance and not worry about a warranty other than the factory warranty, there's just a lot of options. But a lot of people do the returns on lights and everything.
Oh, everything. So that was one of the big draws for shows at one time. The other area that was a big draw specifically for the Las Vegas show was the educational side of things. There were times where there were 1,000 people in that educational seminar room. Somebody sent me a message today talking about the DJ Expo or the DJX seminar room, and there were over 350 seats in that room. But I didn't see in the pictures that popped out today, I did not see that the educational seminar room was full at any time today. There were spots where there's 4 or 5 chairs here, 6 chairs over there, 3 over there that were empty.
I'd be interested to see the numbers after this year, because last year and the year before, obviously, you can't count them as anything. But this would be the first year that it kind of normalizes out. But also that I didn't even think about that this would be the first year for people who have kids. The kids can go to summer camp for the first time. People who didn't get to take a vacation can now take a vacation. So some of that might be biting into who shows up. So it's just kind of be interesting. I still don't think this year will be a good reflection of the future. There's just going to be too many variables. That's all.
I definitely agree with that. That is getting closer, and as Dan had mentioned in just before we went live, he messaged a couple of things over, and he did talk that it's the hugs and the handshakes and things are closer to pre-COVID time than they were even last year when DJ Expo went on. So that part's coming along. So we had at one time the education was a draw, the exhibit hall was a draw. Those things now probably aren't as much of a draw. So it really comes down to a show like this is to be able to network or to see friends or to meet the people that you see online, to go shake the hand of Rachel Lynch or anyone like that. So the question comes back to, are the shows today worth the investment? And I think the best way to answer this is touching a little Ben Stowe and saying it depends.
It depends.
It depends. Yes, it depends. If you're looking for educational content and you're a person who can learn via video and online, there's way more content and more educational things that you can find and learn in your living room or wherever that's out there and available. At this year's show, there's 2 or 3 different companies that are selling training programs of some sort out there. So you don't have to be there. You can find out about them, and then you could be taking any number of training programs. We've got training things. Other people have it. There's a lot of stuff out there. Some people aren't that type of learner. They need to have someone in front of them, and they need to be seeing, and they need to be in that classroom setting. And that's obviously then a show becomes valuable because then you are focused in on that. So I get that. So that could give you value. The other side of it, some people like to see new gear. This isn't the year for that, unfortunately, because there's just not that much because of the whole supply issue. Will it be back and better? Yeah, it will be better in the future. Will it be as great as it once was? I don't think so. I might be wrong. It might come back and all of a sudden all these companies that used to be there come back. I just don't think they're going to. I think there are other ways for them to reach their audiences, sending a controller out to whoever and having them do that, and then letting them answer questions for the next 6 months, because that's how this game works, is that you guys see me talking or MJ talking about a piece of gear, and then after that, for the next 3 to 6 months, the private messages that are, hey, I just picked one of those up, and how do you make that little red light turn to green? I mean, I just really want to make that red light turn to green.
Like making the yellow lights turn to red.
Yeah, whatever it is. But so I think
volume. I mean,
yeah, they get it up all the way into the red. So I think that there's going to be a time where things are going to get better, but I don't think we're going to get back to that point. So it comes back to, is it worth it? I think if you're going to go for the education and that's your driving thing, and you learn well that way, yeah, you can make it. You can find one good tip or a couple of good ideas that you can implement into your business could tenfold in return, financial return. So if you can learn that way, if you can't learn that, if that isn't your learning style, and you're not a social person to go and talk to other DJs, if you're basically just going there for one small aspect of the show, maybe it's not worth it for you. And I think there's a lot of DJs who fall into that category, is that they want to go there and they're there to see the new controllers. And if that's all you're there for, maybe you'd be better off, getting something sent out from Amazon, truthfully.
I think one of the things that we forget, because I'm not a social person, I've mentioned that maybe once or twice on the show.
Really? This is news to me.
No, I know. Yeah. I've been keeping it
so well.
But it is a place that if you don't have people in your life to talk about DJ stuff, because people can get really annoyed who aren't into this, wanting to, we want to talk about the gear, the software, this or that. This is a place that you can go and talk. I was talking to somebody the other day that he said when him and his wife first got married, he always had a night that he went out with his DJ friends to eat. And she was like, well, how come you never invite me to go with you guys? And he's like, well, you can come along, but I'm warning you, you won't want to come back. And he said they were in the middle of arguing, not him and his wife, but the other DJ friends, of what year Toto's Africa came out. And he said he turned to his wife and said, do you get it now? And she's like, yep. So it can be a place not only to network, but to be able to just talk shop with people who want to talk shop about that.
1982?
82. I guessed it right. Other people were going 83, 84. I'm like, I think it was 82. It was 82. We looked it up.
Yeah. No, I didn't look it up. I was typing it in to confirm.
Yeah, we're that old.
Yeah, we were there actually.
But the other thing is you had mentioned, John, that if it doesn't go back to the gear, go and see all the gear, it has always been a show where people drive in to maybe get deals. Could it become more of a place where people can come and buy equipment at a discounted price? I don't want to say flea market, but you know what I mean.
And I think this is actually probably a time we should pop the exhibit hall map up, if you don't mind there, MJ, because that I think is one of the things that's going to continue to set DJX or DJ Expo apart from the other shows, is it has become more of and we use the phrase flea market. That's actually not a great, but it's a cash and carry event where people drive in, they come in there with a empty credit card, and they're like, yeah, and they're going to get some really good deals on some gear. MJ,
Jay from Pioneer, his post today over on Instagram was a picture of him with the booth behind him all blurred out. And he said, we have lots of equipment for you to test and buy. So that was his thing, like that they are pushing that they do have stuff there. And if you are there and you want to buy something, you're going to get a good deal on it.
Yeah, certainly. And that's been, we live in Minnesota, and there have been times where I've had things shipped back. There was one of the times I had checked a box in as a second suitcase because the price of what the items were there were so good that I just could not get them back here at those prices.
I know people that will go to a thrift shop in Jersey and buy a suitcase to be able to fly their stuff back sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah,
buy like a $5 suitcase at the thrift shop and be able to put their stuff in it and fly it back.
MJ, can you pop that map up of the exhibit hall floor? Let's talk about some of that, because for those who've never been there before, we're going to start off. This is the show floor map that they handed out. Dan sent this over, and we kind of combined it into one image. This isn't the size it used to be, and you've got many factors involved with it, how the industry is, and we've talked about that, but we're going to kind of go through a little bit of what a couple of those, specifically the where the good deals tend to be.
First, I want to point out that this is Pioneer's booth, and on a good year, let's say 19 or 18, 2017, there were many booths this size.
Yes, that was very common to have that, because you had Pioneer, who had a big. You had American DJ, Chauvet had a big booth like that. Blizzard at one time had twice that. Yeah, because they had a huge
EV always had a big booth.
Yep, EV had a big one.
RFC had one a couple years ago, big. Who else had big ones?
So, and again, this is a sign of not so much the show and the attendees. It's just a sign of the reality of our world right now, is that some of these companies aren't getting enough stuff to be able to do the booth like this. and or the gear to do that. I mean, you look at where's ProX? ProX is just to the left of Pioneer. There have been years that Gabriel from ProX had a booth that size. Well, due to some different situations, he doesn't have the gear to the level that he had. You know, the variety of different things to display that he used to have. So it's it's just the reality. You can't get things sent from there to here. You get you do what you can. So some of the Pioneer is going to have some of their controllers, because most of their controllers that you've been hearing about, especially last December and January, those that came out, they're going to be there and in stock and ready to go. So you're talking about kind of the mid-level controllers, and some of the entry-level controllers from Pioneer are going to be available. Techniques, usually that booth is selling headphones, is a big part of what they sell, and you can usually get some of the best prices on the Techniques headphones. ProX, Gabriel's got a lot of the different, you've seen the different tables and stands and booths and things and trussing. He also this is a spot where you can pick things up because there's virtually no shipping. You know, it's basically they come in there and they load and go. Let's see, there's an Innovator booth. None of the Innovator Jetpack, while they do have, Jetpack does have some backpacks there that are they're cheaper here than anywhere else. I don't have one. I'm not going to buy one because I think they're still overpriced for what they are, but that's just me. You
got Innovators also with 12-inch skin, so it's for people.
Okay.
So that they're kind of that's what I saw coming a couple years ago, is brands getting together. Like we saw, who was it? It was who was it a couple years ago? It was Roland and somebody else. I want to say BPM Supreme. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Roland and BPM Supreme. So, which we do have something similar to that going on with Jetpacks and Beat Source. Yeah,
I think they're going to have a couple of companies that are being represented by a sales team, and they have a couple of different things in the area there. Just kind of scroll up a little bit there in MJV CAD. You got DAS speakers, AMS. I don't remember which companies are under AMS. Maybe somebody remembers that. The American. You got a DJ Association there. You got the Audio Technica right there, which is doing microphones, KRK. Those are going to be two if you're looking for that. Actually, that whole booth there, Mixware, that's going to be one of the areas where you can go and you could score some good deals in there. But Audio Technica will have their wireless microphones and studio mics. I've purchased those here before. KRK speakers. I think I've got 4 or 5 pair of speakers from this show.
I got a set of studio headphones right here from KRK.
Yeah, and this is their best price of the year comes from here. And Mixware will have lights and their Magma bags. I've purchased Magma gear products here also from that.
I believe they are also having some performances in their booth.
Okay, nice. JMoz will have some, last year I heard they had some tremendous show specials, JMoz Lighting, which is a sponsor of us here. So we want to encourage you to go check their gear out with their light bar and such. Danny Max has got some photo booth things that are there. He had some good prices on that. Just trying to see if there's anybody else who has great deals. Chauvet typically has been repped by iDJ Now, and I'm not sure if they're being repped by iDJ Now, but this is usually where they have some of the best pricing of the year on Chauvet lights. Sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's been okay. Occasionally, your local dealer can get about the same pricing if you reach out and say, "Hey, there's a trade show going on."
Bass Boss has another room upstairs that you can sample their stuff, and a lot of people do buy Bass Boss at the show to also save the price sometimes.
Yeah. And
not going to get a lot,
but if you can haul it, and you can buy demo or buy the booth one,
which that used to be a bigger thing than now, isn't it?
Maybe.
Booth stuff that's sold.
Yeah, maybe it has been. I guess I don't know. Bass Boss. I think aren't they a West Coast company? So someone like that may have more interest in. I mean, right. Danny Max, as an example, 2 or 3 weeks ago was saying, "Hey, the demo gear is for sale, and it's going to be at 20% off. I don't know what it was, 10% off, but he was offering it. So let's go to that back row there. I'm trying to see. There's really
Silent Sound System, Sherman Specialties, RPM Top Hits.
variety of different booths. I don't think there's any of them that are, like Bose has, a decent price. RCF will have decent price, but it isn't anything that's like, oh my gosh, I got to go get my car right now pricing.
Yeah.
Yorkville, those are all they've got some show pricing, but it's nothing, that's just like, oh my gosh. There are a couple. One interesting one, you guys have, Brandon Havrilla has been on with us many a times over the years, and that Red Max at 625 is his booth. He's going to be doing some things at the show that he's never done before, as far as this is his first time exhibiting. So it'll be kind of interesting. It looks like from his teaser videos, he's going to be doing some photo booth props and things. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about
this is going to be a busy booth.
The cash bar. Ironically, you would think that they would be, but they're not. There's a couple of people who go over there, but it's in a space like that, the drinks are $8 a piece.
I didn't notice this. There is a portablist display. And those of you who don't know what a portable, it's those little I'm blanking on brands now.
A portabust? Is that what it is? Portabust.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, I can't think of it, but yeah.
Well, Dan's going to be doing a walkthrough video and taking us through everything. So, but anyway, that's just kind of a quick little overview. The show still has some value where you can go in there and find some great deals. So don't get us wrong that it's not, but it's not like it used to be. There used to be some unique things that you could only find there. I don't have my laptop, but there were some things like a cord protector for your laptop charger that I found there one time. There were some, the decks there the very first time, which is going to be there under the Mixware. But there's unusual things that you find there that you've never seen anywhere else, and those types of little gems, hidden gems, are few and far between. Ernie mentions Denon used to be there. Gemini used to be there. Newmark, which is now with Denon and with Rain, and that's the In Music company. And no, they are not there this year. And who knows if how many of these companies, Electro Voice is another one. Are they going to come back to the shows, or have they figured out a new methodology of reaching clients?
Yeah, it could be a future of smaller booths with just like their newest product and their main product.
Yeah. Sort of
thing. Instead of being everything they own, multiples out for, 20 people to be trying at the same time.
And again, we drop back to with the world of influencers that are out there. You send gear to the right people, and if let's say your speakers are $1,000 speakers, if they sell for $1,000, that means you probably have like $300 into or each speaker. So for $600 in shipping, I can send these out to an influencer, and I can do that 10 times. So now I've got $7,000 into getting gear out to these 10 influencers, whereas to fly a team into Atlantic City and to put them up in a hotel and to feed them and to buy the booth and do all these things, it's really easy to get a $20,000 show. And sometimes those influencers can reach a lot more.
Yeah. And half of them you buy by just giving them the equipment that they have.
Yeah, very much so.
I think it's just like everything else in the world. Things evolve and change. To whatever level this is going to, it has to. I mean, things just don't stay the same. I mean, we look at even some of the late night parties and how they're kind of changing. People aren't coming as much as they used to, so you have to do something to get new people in. So they're going to change that. And the same way with the showroom and also some of the seminars, you'll see those change a little bit. We're seeing a lot of how to DJ people there, not just how to get brides to sign and that sort of thing, but physical hands-on DJing schools doing stuff there.
Very much so.
And that's a switch also in seminars even. So you're going to see a switch on things. To what level? I think what we have to think about now is the supply chain, and the fact that if there was a normal supply chain, there probably would be new products from all the brands maybe, but we just don't, it's just not there. So we can't be down on them if nobody has anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of the way to look at that. You can't expect, if nobody has anything, then you can't be mad at someone for not having something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
my logic.
So, our shows, there are different shows out there. There's the Vegas, there's Chicago, there's small ones, there's big ones.
Those are growing too. There's
Yeah.
a switch for you. Instead of everybody coming to one thing, there's a different regional ones that have a lot of great people show up for them too.
Exactly, and this is where you can really kind of pick and choose. A gentleman was talking earlier about really looking at the educational, who's speaking, what are they speaking on, to make that decision on the value to a person. I think when you get to a point and you've been in the industry for a while, you go to, and you may find, a couple of nuggets is really what you're looking for, because you've heard a lot of this, you've experienced it, you've taught other people much of what you're going to hear at these shows. You're looking for the nuggets. I think if you go into a show looking for just a couple of ideas, and you're going there to see friends and to recharge your battery, doing as MJ mentioned, of talking to people to talk shop. Although I got to say, MJ, I've been to many of the conventions where after about 20 minutes, I'm tired of talking DJ, because there's some people who are like, oh my gosh, DJ, spinning, mixing, woo! They're just going. And it's like, dude, how's your spouse? How's the family? How's life? Did that rash ever clear up? Hey.
Yeah. I'm on the other end of it, because when we did a thing in Vegas for Photo Booth Expo, I have a little Surface Go, which is like basically a Windows tablet, and I have virtual on that. And I'm telling you, every time I stopped, I'm pulling that out. People are asking questions. So literally, I had this thing with me we went to that mixer party. It was a second night or something. And I spent half the time over against the wall with just people huddled around me as I'm showing them stuff. So it works out for me being able to talk about stuff like that. Because what am I going to do? Go socialize with somebody? I don't think so.
Yeah, and I think there really becomes the benefit of it is that someone like yourself who would go in that kind of an area is something you like to do and you enjoy. You can do that. Someone like myself, I can go talk for a little while about the stuff, and then I can go and catch up on the family and different things for other folks. So it really, I think they can be valuable, and they can enhance your experience, enhance your life, enhance your business. But I think the idea is you have to be going into it with the proper mindset. They're not a miracle worker. You can't be basically, oh my gosh, I'm gonna spend my last $1,000. We're just about broke, honey. But I bought these 3 beans, and these 3 beans are gonna save our. No, it's not that type of thing. It's something that you can go in open-minded and wanting to connect, do some things, enjoy yourself, and learn a little bit. And it can be a very valuable experience.
Yeah. It's kind of, to some people, it's a DJ vacation.
Oh, very much so. It is a paid or it's a write-off vacation. Go to Las Vegas, go to Atlantic City. Although I think if I were going to, between the two, they both stink. Literally.
I still want Anaheim. Haven't been to that one. I still want to go to Anaheim.
January, Anaheim, NAM. When it's like 20 below here, and I get down there and it's like 70, it's like, oh man, why do we live in that state? Adrian asked a really good question. How often are influencers disappointed with purchases they have made because of product that didn't meet expectations? I think it's way more than a person would realize. That there's numerous times where a person gets a piece of gear and it's average or poor quality. Sometimes
it just doesn't fit what they want.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's not so much doesn't fit. Maybe I can't do the things they need it to do. That you've got the sound system. You're like, oh my gosh, this is great. Thinking an example of that I had is I purchased one of the Carvin systems with the big 18-inch sub, and it was a kind of a predecessor. It was during the time when the Bose had their Bose, the L1, the very first their first array systems. Carvin came out with one, and it's like, this is going to be great, and it wasn't. It was okay, but it wasn't great. And I was expecting with the bigger drivers in the array and that, and then the bigger woofer, it's like, this is going to be something I can use at high schools, I can use everywhere. And it made a lot of noise, but it wasn't very good noise as far as I was concerned. So there are times where that happens. To be very truthful, very few of the influencers you're seeing out there are buying their gear. It's just not something that happens too often. Most of the time you're seeing either they're sending out the gear to the influencer and they're going and they're testing it, doing the video on it and using it a little bit. one big indication is, if you're paying attention, is to see how long the influencer is using that piece of gear. If they use it for one video and it's gone, that could be a couple of different things. One thing is it wasn't as good as they said it was if they were raving about it. There's times where you've got so much gear, you just have to make a decision. It's like, okay, I can't be taking 10 speaker systems out all summer long. You find the one that you like the most and you roll with that. And there's times where the companies will send it out and have a person do a video on it, and then they want to pick it up again. So there's the different things. But generally, if there's somebody who's doing a lot of videos, and ourselves included, we're not paying for much of the gear. When it comes to the electric voice stuff, about half of my electric voice stuff has been stuff sent out to me for doing video review. And then like the subwoofers and I've added two, I purchased the Evolve 50s. I bought a set of the Evolve 50Ms. I purchased sets of subs for our different shows because I wanted to have multiple subs for the show. So a lot of the stuff comes free. You do your videos, you use it, and you can give an opinion on it. And then there's some of the stuff that is purchased. Most of the time when I'm doing a video, it doesn't matter if I purchased it or if it was sent out. I'm unless it's really bad, I'm not going to be saying this sucks. But I will be very, very honest and say that this is for this application. It's not going to do a high school dance. It's for an American Audio piece a few years back was a prime example of that. It was a little 100-watt, 15-inch two-way cabinet. It was the ELS something or another. It wasn't a Go. What was it used for? It's basically designed for cocktail music in the backyard. Nothing more than that. And that's what it sounded good at cocktail level and a backyard volume. Anything beyond that, it was not a speaker for someone. And people were like, "Well, how can I use it for a dance?" No, in the video I said it was good for cocktail music in the backyard. It can't handle anything more than that. And I'd rather tell you the truth of where I'm going with it than to say, this speaker stinks because, well, it can't do a 3,000 kid high school dance. No, it can't. But for $100, two of them, you put them in a rental system, and somebody can go use them. And if they break them, big deal. You paid for them in a rental.
I got sent a set of headphones one time from Stanton, just many, many years ago, and I had to go back to them to tell them, I'm just letting you know, I can't say anything good about these headphones at all. And he's like, really? I'm like, I couldn't even recommend them to anybody. And I said, I'm not going to do a video because I don't want to tell you how bad they are. And he's like, well, okay, then.
Yeah. And that has happened. I have that happen more in a handyman in the tool world, because companies will send out, all of a sudden something appears and it's like, well, what's this? Oh, look. And then you putz with it a little bit, and it's like, okay, there's absolutely nothing of this that I wouldn't recommend this. I would not give this to someone free because it is there's been there was a welder that came in, and it literally went from in to I took it to the recycling place because it was just not I was never going to use that or recommend that. There are things like that, and it does happen, and it has happened in the audio industry. We had a lighting controller that was sent out that we started working with, and it was just like, oh my gosh, whoever came up with this was just really kind of brain dead. It was such a bad design and a bad idea. And there's lights over there. There's microphones. Actually, there's a microphone right back here. A couple of microphones that they just don't work, and it's not because they're a fluke. It's just that they're designed so poorly that it's, they sound like I'm talking like this. It's like, who in your product development thought that was a good sound and said, ooh, let's get that microphone out on the field. So anyway, influencers I think are going to be, but I think it's, as somebody mentioned, like Cleveland Terry and a few others who are going out there and being very honest with it. Because there's some folks that I've seen doing a video on a light, and it's like, okay, I've watched 6 videos on this light, and there's a flaw in the light, and every one of those 6 videos hid the flaw. It's like, how in the world can you people? It's like, it's like, okay, here's the light, and here's this flaw. Now this flaw is not going to. It's going to be something that you would need to know about. it doesn't, you can function without it, but if you watch the videos and that piece is missing because it is a piece that breaks, it's a flaw that they need to deal with. Doesn't mean that it won't function. It's just that nobody wants to have a piece of light that breaks right away. And that's exactly what happens with it.
That is one of the reasons why, if you watch my videos on equipment, most of the time I don't have the piece of equipment, and I'm giving you just basic information on how it works, what's intended to do, not an opinion, because there is so many pieces of equipment out there that I wouldn't recommend to anybody, but someone else might love.
Yeah.
So I have like Pioneer's one. They make solid equipment. Everybody loves them, but I don't. Mm-hmm. They tend to, in my opinion, they tie down certain things that are intended only for either hardware only stuff or Serato only, and I can't remap them to do what I want. So there's a lot of stuff on their equipment, certain devices, that I just can't even use. So that doesn't mean that they're bad by any shape of of anything. It's just that I can't look at that and go, yeah, you guys should get this, but I couldn't tell you why you want to get it.
Yeah.
There's brands that I've used and DJ'd for that they come out with a new piece of equipment, and I've had it in my studio for 15 minutes and went, nope.
Nope. Not gonna.
Nope.
I wouldn't
Knew immediately then I never wanted to own it and couldn't do a review on it because I would just talk smack on it. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to be in this business, to try to be full-time, make a living at influencing all that, and be honest. That's why I think I've kind of backed away from that, because I'm a really, really, really honest person, and it's hard for me to put a spin on something. And like John saying, it's good for this, try it for this, without telling you don't try it for this.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a sometimes you got to read between the lines, I guess is the best way.
It's a dance, just like anything in life. I mean, car dealers, whatever you're doing, everybody's selling you something.
And there have been times where a product in which I have gone through and I did not care for, and we used. No, it's not Mega Sig there, Ben.
Thirsty. Thank you, appreciate that.
But there have been times where there have been products, and I've been like, yeah, I would not use it for this. I'd use it for that, and this did that. Yeah. And then somebody comes back and they're like, I absolutely love it, and it works so well for me, and I'm just so happy with it. And it's like, hey, more power to you, good for you. It didn't feel right for me, or didn't sound right, or whatever. And that happened actually with Gemini speakers. So there was somebody who used them and loved them, and I looked at them as rental throwaway speakers is really what I felt they were. So, okay. So we got through that. Now we're almost wrapping.
If you have any questions, throw them out real quick. I mean, if you have anything, I know tonight it wasn't the most top. I mean, we thought we would have, at least I did, I can't speak for John, thought that we would have some more information about the expo, some people just kind of chiming in something, but we're really not hearing a lot. I literally went and searched hashtags right before we went on air, and I wasn't finding a whole lot.
Yeah, really, I think Dan was the most productive poster today. I mean, Mike Walter had some things that he posted also. It was nice to see Johnny Roz. Haven't seen him at a show in a while, so it was good to see that he was out there. But yeah, I think Dan was sending photos over, and we were putting them up on Instagram today, and there was quite a few good things. Oh, Ben, that's a fun question. What is the worst piece of gear you have bought? Now that's going to
tell you where I bought it from. No, I'm kidding. Worst gear I actually paid for.
Something there's been a few. I can tell you that.
If you can think of something, go ahead, because I'm trying to think.
One was a Vocal Pro microphone. It was a 2-channel Vocal Pro, and I thought it was going to be the greatest thing because we had been doing karaoke for quite a while, and I thought, okay, 2 microphones, this is going to be awesome. And bought that thing, and it didn't even make half the show. But at the time, it was during the world of the 1990s where mail order, it was like you got it, and either I paid to ship it back or you're stuck with it. So the microphones are going to get that microphone would probably be very high on that list. I've had some lights that I bought over the years that I thought would look great, and I got them in the field, and I used them once, and I hated them.
Mine has to be one thing at the top of the list was those of you who are old enough to remember the 90s, there was a company that was called American DJ. And it's not a DJ, is it? They were American DJ, and then they became American Audio, correct?
American Audio was a sub company. So
it was CD players from the 90s.
Yep.
By American DJ.
Yep, and that would have been the very first, the ADJ 100, I believe it was the dual one.
It was separates with came as a kit, two sides and a mixer that went in the center.
Yep. You had they
skipped so bad, and when you press play, there was a lag. So if you wanted a 5, 6, 7, 8 drop, that was going to drop behind your finger hitting the thing, and it was pretty much useless.
Yeah, there were some of the early. That was my other spot. Is I bought a Gemini 2 at one of the DJ shows. It was a dual deck CD player from Gemini. It was like the 3500, I think was the model number on it, and I was so excited. Got it home and didn't have a show, so I didn't open it up for about a month, and opened it up and it wouldn't work, and nobody stood behind it. No one. It was like you bought it at the DJ show. It was buyer beware type of thing, and I didn't know that at the time. So that one never made it to a show. Let's see, Simeon there with the Honest Review podcast to be different. You're going to have a really tough time because I think everybody goes into it wanting to have and do honest reviews about gear, because the only way you're going to get to do that is to self-fund it. And one of the a few years back, we tried to have we've got the DJNTV training where we have some people who are helping to sponsor the DJNTV channel. About 5 years ago, we tried a different variation of that because we thought we're going to get away from sponsor money completely and just basically try to be crowdfunded. Because if we can do that, then we can go through and we can afford to do on the reviews where we can go and take things apart if we need to. But in order to do that, you got to buy the gear then, because they're not going to just send you gear out and have you butcher it. That's just not going to happen. So that means that you've got to have our operating budget was $100,000 a year, and we would need to have another $100,000 to buy gear. And that was just going to be the way it is. And yes, you could sell some of it, but I mean, and there's just no way that you can come up with things at that level. The closest to having something like that might have been Digital DJ Tips, where they have got their educational part that's really the money generator, or was the money generator, and then they could go and buy gear or get gear as they needed and then give some reviews on it. But even they couldn't afford that, and they were the most profitable entity out there in the DJ industry for doing reviews and training and all those different things. So it's a great and noble thing. It's just financially impossible to do.
Here's the worst part about that, John, that you have to keep in mind, no matter what you're reviewing, you're going to have just as many people agree with you as there's that disagree with you.
Exactly.
So you're never going to have an opinion that you go, oh, see, yeah, I was right. No, because there's going to be so many people that disagree with you that you're going to feel like you were wrong. And so it's that, again, why I backed away from doing the reviews. It's just because it's like my opinion's my opinion, your opinion, your opinion. As I make a video, don't expect me to comment back on your comments. That's not I have better things to do in life.
Yeah, for sure.
If you had that show to be honest, you would have as many people supporting you saying, yes, I agree, as you would people telling you you're a stupid idiot, you don't know what good equipment is. Well, stuff like that.
Very, very much so, yeah, because there's some people who would look just the Evolve 50s. Some people look at that and say that's a child speaker. Why would you ever, a real DJ wouldn't be caught dead with it. And then yet you've got 10 times the number of people who would say, that's the greatest speaker in the world for the right that application, whatever that application is. Yeah. So I think that becomes the thing is in the honest review, I think is out there. The honest reviewers are out there. I think it's the jumping back to Obi-Wan talking about from a certain perspective type of a thing, how from a certain point of view, that was how it happened, or that's how it would be. It becomes from a certain point of view, some of the gear can function for certain type of events, and you're trying to not diss anybody. You're trying not to badmouth anybody and ruin, relationships that could be beneficial for the business down the road. But you also don't want to be misleading people and saying that, oh my gosh, this little 10-inch two-way speaker is so incredible. It will do all of your high school dances all by itself because it gets up to 106 decibels. Yeah. You don't want to go there. That becomes, but to say,
some of the speakers they push for big shows, I'm thinking I own headphones that are louder.
Yeah. Yeah. There are occasionally it's like, what are they thinking? Especially when you go to NAMM and you're looking at some of these little things that's like a little 12-inch and they've got these little line array these little arrays that have four little drivers, and it's like 4 driver, 4 driver, 4 driver. And it's like, that'll handle 400 people. Add 2 of them and it's 800 people. It's like, no, it won't. What are you smoking? It will maybe do 100 people. And that's it. Well, but it's got a 400 watt amplifier pushing that 12-inch sub. Okay, I get, SPL and efficiency and all that, but there's no way that little sub is going to be putting out that kind of power at a 12-inch. It just cannot move enough air. It's called dynamics. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's
and really
why I don't do that, because it's just it's not even worth arguing about, because you both can be right and you both can be wrong, and you both could neither one matter.
Yeah, see, I'm never wrong. I just, unless I talking to my kids or
that's again why I don't think I'm missing the expo this year, is just the opinions. I'm not one. Life's too short to sit and argue about whether a speaker's good for this or that. If you want to buy it, spend it. My dad used to say, when I would talk about things being, is it worth it? He goes, well, it's up to you. You're spending the money. Do you think it's worth the money?
Yeah.
It becomes your opinion on whether you think it's worth the money. Like somebody there a little bit ago has talked about the expense of the Rev 7. I have the Rain 1 and it's nearly as expensive, and I would have paid more for it. I think it's that good. But there's other people out there that wouldn't own a Rain 1 for nothing.
Mm-hmm. So somebody had sent me a private message here asking why you and I did not go to DJ Expo. We'll talk about that. MJ, if you can hang out here when we go to the chill room afterwards. Let's talk about that there. Because tonight we're going to, Howie's not in, Howie's getting ready for tomorrow night at Beret. So MJ and I are going to go and hang out in the chill room for a little while and say hey to you guys. And we'll talk about why, because it's not that we don't like going to some of these shows and being part of it on occasion, but we'll get into more detail there.
The swag. I'm missing swag, John.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, Dan is like the swag king. He, like, if there's giving away something, it's like, did you get this? Did you get this? How about this? And it's like, dude,
I think 2 or 3 shirts I own, I was like, where did you get that? He goes, I got 2 of them. You want one? I'm like,
yeah. And one year he had flashlights and thumb drives and like keychainy things.
I got my Pioneer shirt from him that way, and I'm like, they didn't have them.
Yeah, no, it's like,
he knows what he's doing.
He's the swag king there. So yeah, we'll do that next. DJNTV.com/chill. We'll be hanging out there for a little while, and you guys can check in anytime you want to do that. Tomorrow night is Tuesday. We're going to come in, and it's going to be kind of a little kind of a helter-skelter evening tomorrow night, because at 8 o'clock Eastern is the Beret event is going to start, and then we're going to try to go live from that for a period of time tomorrow night. I don't know, that'll be 9 o'clock Eastern, somewhere in that ballpark. And then 10 o'clock Eastern is the Tuesday Night Music Show, and if everything lines up, I think we're going to come in and we're going to talk about if I'm there, it's probably going to be 80s music. I'm just saying that's probably how it's going to be. So, but I'm planning to come and hang out with you guys tomorrow night also as we dig into some music things. So, yeah, I think that's it. And then our next is it next Monday? Yeah, next Monday is our next DJNTV training night, and we're going to be digging into a little bit about how a person stays fresh and keeps your energy up. Dan's doing some interviews with some different people about how they handle multiple events in a row and keep that energy and don't get burned out at this time of the year. So he's going to be talking to some variety of people, and one of which is going to be Mike Walters going to be coming on. He'll be live next Monday night with me, and we'll be talking to him then. So anything else, MJ? Okay. Well, we're going to take about a 5-minute break. We'll see you guys in the chill room, djntv.com/chill. We'll catch you there. Good night, everybody.